10 most expensive military machines. Number 10. F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. This single-seat fighter jet is designed for all-weather stealth fighting as well as ground attacks, aerial reconnaissance, and air defense missions. There are many variants of this expensive aircraft. One of them allow it for short takeoff and short landing capabilities. This makes it more suitable for being utilized on aircraft carriers. This is primarily operated by allies of the US in places like the UK, Italy, Israel, and Australia, to name a few. It's made of expensive radar-absorbing materials, can reach supersonic speeds, and has state-of-the-art sensor fusion technology. There are quite a few critics out there who believe this thing isn't worth the $109 million price tag. Others believe this jet gives us air superiority over China and Russia. Is it worth it though? Number 9. DDG-51 Destroyer. The US Navy has been one of the US's key advantages if we were to engage in warfare with a powerful country. The highly advanced DDG-51 destroyer would certainly be a reason. One of its main focuses is on anti-aircraft warfare with advanced radar and surface-to-air missiles. With its radar, it's also suited to hunt down enemy submarines with its Harpoon missiles. It has the ability to launch Tomahawk cruise missiles onto strategic land targets if it so desires. Needless to say, this is a lethal destruction bringer and can certainly fire more than a few in 1 minute. Here in this photo, we see the USS Bainbridge launch a guided cruise missile. There's currently 62 of these in deployment, and the US plans on bringing in another 14 of them. Cost per destroyer? A cool $1.3 billion. Number 8. V-22 Osprey. This is definitely the most expensive airplane helicopter thing the US uses. It's actually known as a tilt-rotor aircraft. It combines the small landing spaces that helicopters have with the high speed and gliding capabilities of airplanes. This also uses an engine constructed by one of the fanciest car companies in the world. That's right, these use a Rolls-Royce T406 engine that allows them to reach top speeds of 351 miles per hour. Some missions from Ospreys might require Marines to jump out and into combat like we see in this photo. The vehicle has been part of some controversy due to its price tag, and it seems to keep costing more and more to construct throughout the years. V-22 Ospreys cost about $72 million each, and the US is looking to build at least 400 of these total, making it quite the costly program. Number 7. B-2 Bombers. This extremely expensive aircraft was built shrouded in secrecy by the US Air Force and considered to be one of the most mysterious classified projects in US history. The reason this was such a big deal was due to its stealth capabilities, which were relatively unheard of when it was being developed in the late 90s. It can also deploy thermonuclear weapons with a bomb payload of about 20 tons. In the 1980s and 1990s, it costed taxpayers an estimated $2 billion apiece, and we managed to build 20 of them. So if you do the math, you get $40 billion spent on this aircraft. Guess how many are actually operational? 11. One of them even crashed in Guam due to poor maintenance. Someday they could be put to use, but dang, that seemed like a lot of money down the drain. Number 6. Exoskeletons. Imagine being able to run around wherever you wanted to, completely bulletproof, covering 60% of your body. Of course, that seems like any soldier's dream, but could it become a reality? Possibly, but only for some of the world's most elite special forces, when failure is certainly not an option. This futuristic operational suit is known as the Iron Man suit. General Joseph Vaughtel stated that advanced armor, cutting-edge power sources, and integrated display systems are just a few of the results this project has wielded. During some of the interviews at the Special Operation Forces Industry Conference, many military officials were rather reluctant to speak about the new suit, but it definitely is going to be something more than just armor. The fully enclosed helmet is going to have night vision and possibly other capabilities. The legs have motorized actuators which will take stress off the Special Forces agents' legs. SOCOM is currently investing $80 million worth of research into this suit. Number 5. Trident II Missiles. We briefly mentioned how the Virginia-class subs and the DDG-51 destroyers have the capabilities of launching cruise missiles. You could have probably guessed it for yourself, but those cruise missiles are pretty pricey. Luckily, the Americans and the British Navy are splitting some of the research costs. The reason they're so expensive is basically because they're pinpoint accurate using GPS, can be launched from underwater, can carry nuclear warheads, and have ranges of 4,500 miles. Not only that, but they can travel at speeds of 18,000 miles per hour. Each one costs $37 million, but there's some videos out there of destroyers launching cruise missiles like it's a semi-automatic machine gun. If you combine the spending from the US and the UK on this missile, it adds up to about $53 billion. Number 4. Mine-resistant ambush protected. Imagine finally being able to drive a vehicle without having to worry about landmines or IEDs. Our boys in Iraq would be very grateful. Many Humvees were obliterated during the Iraq wars from IEDs, and now it appears that the military has a solution. Also known as the MRAP, these vehicles were designed in South Africa. The US eventually spent $50 billion on the project to make these mine-proof, as an emergency-type effort was put into it in 2007. You break it down, and they at least cost $500,000 each. Here in this photo, we see the decked-out version of the FBI's car. Doesn't look like you want to mess with this thing. There's believed to be about 800 of these used by law enforcement groups as well. Number 3. Virginia-class submarines. This class of submarine is really in a class of its own. Each one is carefully crafted, which requires an estimated 9 million labor hours for a single construction of a Virginia-class submarine, and they plan to build another 35 of these. You can imagine these would be expensive to construct, considering there's a nuclear reactor on board. There's also several new features that have never been seen before on US submarine classes. This includes a new sonar system, accurate cruise missile firing systems, pump jet propulsor, and improved gear to save the crew in case it sinks. Many have called it the Ferrari of submarines, and only the best submariners will have a chance to ride it. Cost per submarine, $2.5 billion. Number 2. Raptor F-22. The most expensive and technologically advanced jet fighter on the market is the Raptor F-22. These supersonic jets can be seen at air shows, completely stupefying large crowds of spectators. Its primary role is to shoot down enemy aircraft before they even see the Raptor in the skies. But with a barrage of different weapons, it can accommodate ground attacks, electronic warfare, precision weapons engagement. Each unit costs taxpayers $150 million, but with the air superiority in mind, the US is planning on building around 528 of these for a total cost of $79 billion. There have been a few crashes already, but the pilots were able to make it out of the craft okay, with no injuries. And number 1. CVN-78 class aircraft carrier. The Gerald Ford is the first ship of the new class of aircraft carriers. This floating airport is a big upgrade from the Nimitz class. With all these expensive and fancy aircraft the US is coming up with, they'll need an advanced way to transport them. Individually, the CVN-78 class aircraft carrier is the most expensive military item to exist in the world. That doesn't include the expensive aircraft on them either, or the research it took to make this. In the long run, it should save some money from lowering the number of crew members, but increasing the number of automated systems. This thing even has laser beams. The living conditions were improved by increasing air conditioning. It also uses an electromagnetic launch system, which will increase life expectancy on multi-million-dollar planes. The newly designed nuclear reactors will produce 3 times as much power as the Nimitz class. The upgrades are quite impressive, especially with the new radar system, and it will be able to generate 30% more flights per day. Total costs, $13 billion for parts and labor, and $4.7 billion was how much it took for research and development.